gonna do a tutorial today of a song called Wellspring by Leeland. It's off of his album called Better Word from the year 2019. It's now 2020, but it's from last year. So it's still fairly new and current. I haven't seen anybody on YouTube do a tutorial of this acoustic style of guitar for this song. And one of the reasons I'm sharing it with you is because I had to learn it myself to lead it this Sunday. And so I thought after I learned it, I would share it with some other people who might want to know. It's a little bit different, not exactly straightforward. The tuning is not in standard tuning, and you have to get a handle on the picking pattern, but once you do that, it's fairly easy. So I'm going to cover it now and zoom in to show you how it goes. So let me explain this capo setup I got real quickly. What I've got is a capo on the first fret, totally capoed from top to bottom, and then I've got a Kaiser capo. It's just a normal capo. You can get these sometimes where they're notched out, where, you know, if you put it on your guitar, it's actually not holding down certain strings. But this is just a regular Kaiser capo. But I do have it partially capoed, everything but the low E string on the third fret. And if you watch the live video of Leeland playing this, he has a capo all the way on the third fret. But what I suspect is that he actually has it notched out to where he can put it on like this, but it's actually an open E string. So it's kind of cut out right there to where it's not holding down the E string. That's what I suspect. But if you don't have one of those capos and you do have a couple sitting around, I tried to partially capo this one. This is a really nice G7th capo, but it didn't really get the job done trying to do a partial. But these Kaiser, I've used these forever and they're pretty great. They're kind of tough to open up sometimes, but they do work pretty good for a partial capo, and that's basically what I'm doing. But I have to capo down here just to get that low E string in tune. So that's the setup, and that's why I've got two capos on. Okay, so first thing to know about this song is that it is essentially in drop D tuning. The song itself is in F, the key of F major, so we're playing it as if it's in D. So the capo configuration I have here is basically capoed on the third fret. When you play a D there, it's an F, okay? So drop D tuning means that your low E string is tuned to the same as the D string. So in this case, it's an F, and the low string is an F. So we have that going on here, which is really nice because you have that low end string that is your root note, essentially, or the root of the key. So here's the pattern for the verses. So that is the verse, and what is essentially happening is the F is doing kind of a sus thing, like it's playing that melody on the verse, and so that is kind of being accomplished by this. It's kind of the same thing. That melody is going on, right? So let's get right into the picking pattern here and the notes that you're playing. So I'm going to try to break this picking pattern down and play it slow. It's kind of hard to do slow. What I would encourage you to do is to utilize YouTube's tools at the bottom there. If you go over, there's a little like gear looking thing, and if you click on that, it gives you a couple of options as far as like quality of video and things like that. But it also gives you the option of playing the video back either sped up or slowed down. So take a look at that and slow the video down if you need to. Like I said, it's kind of hard to play it slow, but I'm gonna do my best to kind of break it down. So you're gonna start out with your pinky, well, at least that's the way it works for me anyway, pinky on the 7th fret on the D string. You're gonna pluck your low E and the D string together. And then you're gonna go back and forth on the low E string and the A string. And then go down to the D string on the 5th fret. So now you're gonna pick your G string. So let's do that again. And that's the basic pattern there. So you're gonna kind of pluck a note and then go back and forth on this. So you hear that pattern. And when I'm picking these strings down here, I'm also plucking this low E string at the same time. So So the next sort of chord you're going to do is holding down the A string and the D string on the 5th fret, and also hold your pinky on the D string, 7th fret. So it's going to sound like this. So it's a little bit of a variation on the first chord. First chord is this. Then you go back to the first chord, and then this is sort of a 4/6 chord or something like that, or maybe a 6. And it's actually, yeah, like a 4/6. And relative to the capo, it's sort of like a G over B. But it's gonna sound like. This is a little bit different pattern. What I'm doing here is plucking the low E string and the A string together, and then so low E and A together, then the E, then the D string, E again. So I'm only holding down with my left hand the A string on the 5th fret. And that's essentially the verse. So let's go over it again kind of slowly. Alright, now I'm going to sing through the verse just so you'll kind of know where these chords fall. You know, I'm doing this for the guitar, not the singing part, so hopefully it's not too distracting, but just to give you a reference point.
Oh, sufficient, never lacking, everything we need. We come boldly, we come thirsty, you are all we seek.
Alright, so let's move on to the chorus. It starts off with essentially like a B minor, but we're going to play it like this. So I'm not really playing the low E string. I've got my first finger on the 5th fret of the A string. The D is open. The G string is on the 5th fret as well. And the B string is on the 6th fret. And the high E is open. So that's the first chord. The next chord is just a regular old G. Then we're going to go to basically what is a D over F sharp. You can play that with your thumb, but it's probably easier if you play it with your first finger. And then back to a G. So let's kind of sing through that.
Oh, your love is a wellspring, you fill us up with water that never runs dry. There is ceiling and breakthrough when we behold you, Jesus, our endless supply.
Alright, so that's that sort of part of the chorus. The second part of the chorus is back to that same kind of a B minor chord, and then the 1/3 D over F sharp, then the G, and then we're doing like an A sus to an A. Repeat that. So those are the oohs. So
you're all we're after. You're all that matters now.
So then he goes back. And he only plays that once before he goes back into verse 2.
all consuming, overflowing, come wash over us. You take weakness and redeem it, Father, you're enough. Alright, so we're just same thing on the second chorus, the exact same chorus, so go back and look at that if you need to. And then after they come out of the second chorus, it goes into the bridge. So you're all that matters now. So you'll notice on the live video that Leeland's playing with his thumb. It just gives it sort of a muted sound. It's not really in your face. It's just kind of like a good choice of dynamics for that part of the song. And so really it's just a D chord, but you know, luckily we're in drop D so that you can play that low E string and it sounds great with it. So, and then it goes to like a 1/7. So this would be like a D over C sharp. But again, play the low E string, and then it goes to like a D over a B, or kind of like a B minor. So yeah, it just does that for the entire first part of the bridge. At least that's kind of the intro. He's kind of ad-libbing there. So yeah, your love is a wellspring, you never will run dry, and right here and right now is resurrecting. Alright, so the next part of the bridge, and actually I had to play this entire song with a pick kind of sandwiched between my first and middle fingers, so that was fun, nice challenge. But yeah, I mean, I should really get one of those pick holders that you can put on your mic stand, you can just grab the pick. But even so, it's kind of tricky to do really fast. But anyway, so really the part where I grabbed the pick and got it ready to use in the strumming position was at the end of that bridge, before it goes up an octave vocally. So he's singing at the end of the first part of the bridge there. And right here and right now there's resurrecting life. Your love is a wellspring, you never will run dry. So right there, I'm playing a G, real dry. And right here, so now it gets interesting here. What they do is they throw in the 2 minor chord, which is like an E minor, and this is a kind of tricky. You're gonna have to play an E minor like normal, like you would play it like this, but you're gonna have to hit this low E string at the capo or kind of behind it. So it's gonna sound like this. So normally your low E string is gonna sound open tuned to your D string, but this time we gotta hit it sort of behind this capo to make it sound like an E minor, which is kind of tricky, but it's doable. I can't say that I always hit it perfectly the first time. So there's that, and then we're gonna go to like that B minor chord, and then back to the G. So I'll show you how that goes. Your love is a wellspring, you never will run dry. And right here and right now there's resurrecting.
And so what they do after that bridge is they go back into the chorus, and then at the end of that, they're doing the you're all we're after. And then he goes up like really high. Actually, I did the song a half step lower because this is really high. You're all that matters. And then they go back into your love is a wellspring. You can just play that sort of open D, or you can do the sort of walk down. But they do sort of the second half of the bridge where they go to the G. So I'll just kind of sing through it. Your love is a wellspring. You never will run dry. And right here, I go to the 2 minor. And right now, there's joining on that D. So they're playing these same chords like an instrumental, then they go to that's the end of the song. Alright, that's it. I hope you enjoyed this song and that you get something out of it, and that if you want to play it at your church, that this equips you to do so and to glorify God and doing it and worship Him. Yeah, take it and run with it. Hope it helps.
I don't have it figured out, but I take